Karthikeyan Subramanian, who is the Senior Director Consulting with GEP. Karthik is responsible for driving business results for clients, managing global GP teams, working very closely with client leadership. He has led program delivery on multiple large-scale procurement, supply chain transformation, and strategic cost reduction program across the globe. He is a part of the GP India leadership team, managing the delivery of 400 plus consultant and 2000 plus employees across strategy, software, and managed services. Karthik has 15 years of international experience in consulting operation with specific focus on program management and change management. Can we welcome him with big round of applause, please?
What 36 years later, I think we could prove him wrong. Okay, so I actually starting off with few apprehensions, right? First thing, I'm preaching to the choir, right? One, all these topics, the industry practitioners do it day in and day out. Okay, so I'm like, what am I going to say new? Second one, a lot of topics which I wanted to cover has already been covered in some of the earlier sessions. Okay, so now I have to, on the fly, generate some new aha moments in those topics. Okay. Three, that's a personal problem. Probably I'm not a right consultant fit, right, where I come here and deliver all those brilliant philosophies. Okay, I'm more into getting the hands dirty. Okay, so I'll try to do my best. Okay, I know I have only 20 minutes, probably I've already taken up 2-3 minutes. So I'll keep it short. I'll also want to reserve some time for Q&A. Okay. Quickly, okay, before I give my point of view, let's get some basics right on where the industry is today, or the world is there today. One, we all know GDP growth. I'm going to share this presentation with everyone here, so don't worry about taking notes or don't worry about taking pics. Okay. Yeah, so GDP growth, we all know, right? 2021, we were 6%, 2022, 3.2%, 2023, we are projecting 2.7% growth, right? That's like, compared to pre-COVID, that's horrible to say the least, right? This is the weakest growth we are seeing. Probably, the last time it happened was 1975, the oil related recession. Okay. Energy cost, again, we know, fluctuating. Pre-COVID, it was 100 plus, came down, hit. 2020, October, $43 per barrel. 2021, October, 84. Now it's hovering around 88. Yeah, when Russia invaded Ukraine, it hit 123. Lot of things happening there. Probably we expect, or the analysts expect, the oil to hit above 100 next year. Okay. Geopolitics, we see Russia, Ukraine, China plus one strategy. Recently, you would have heard about semiconductors ban coming up in the US. A lot of things happening. We do not know what is going to happen in 2023, but we can expect that 2023 to be more volatile than 2022. Okay. Interest rates, again, the highest interest rates that the developed economies have seen in the recent decades, right? I still remember pre-COVID when we used to have this savings target, right, year-on-year savings target. We used to, since representing India, when I speak to the client saying, hey, don't come up with a 4.5%, 5% savings against last year baseline. That's okay to do in US or Europe, where there's an inflation of 2%. When the inflation in India, I think 6%, then I think it continues to be the same. You can't really hit 4-5% savings every year, okay, against the previous year baseline. Even if you're going to do keep it flat, it's a great win for us. Okay, and I felt that they weren't really understanding that, right? Because that higher inflation was not the era, they weren't that era, they were facing this thing. But now, I think everyone gets it. I think across the globe, everyone gets it when you say behind, like against the previous year baseline, this is very difficult. Okay, cool, coming back, right? I think we all understand, but one thing I just want to call out here again, 2023, we are talking about the inflation going down, or against maybe 2022 baseline, we'll see a deflation, right? We'll see some cost decreases, but it's still going to be higher than the pre-COVID era. Okay, so when easy one is, let's say US now, which is facing 6-7%, 8% inflation, even if it goes down to say 5%, inflation. That's going to be twice of the inflation US faced pre-COVID era, which was typically around 2.5%. Okay, so all this cost decrease that we expect in 2023, that's not going to be very helpful for us. We are still going to face, particularly coupled with this weak sales demand, right, which is going to, most probably that's going to happen. Okay, your CFOs, CXOs are going to come back to you saying, oh, you know what, sales is decreasing, I still need increased savings from you. Okay, so we can't really count on price decreases in 2023, making our job easier. Cool. Okay, maybe I'll be quick here, just to set some more, few more things as a context. Right, 2020, pre-2020, right, pre-COVID. I think procurement mostly we're focusing on risk mitigation, reducing cost, procurement systems. I think it's still there, but we're all trying to do the right things, come up into e-sourcing, e-auction, contract life cycle management, blah, 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 right? And then there was this discussion about innovation, and suddenly everything went for a toss. We started scouting for masks. Okay. A lot of other pandemic initiatives, supply continuity became an issue, which is still continuing. Okay, now recent, at least in 2022 and late 2021, high inflation, right? And then managing remote teams. I think this is what we were facing in the last 2 years, right? So 2023, one, as I said earlier, volatility, weak sales is going to be the theme. Okay. Accelerated digital transformation. Again, a lot of people spoke about digital transformation, right? And maybe I have a slide here to talk about it as well. But one thing we need to understand, digital transformation is just not about coming with a full suite implementation. Okay. There's a lot more to it than just implementing one full suite and saying, oh, I'm digitally transformed. Again, most of the industry, not just procurement, outside moving to cloud seems to be digital transformation, right? That's not the case. Let's be very clear about it. Okay, ESG, again, in India, I know maybe by mindset, we are all cost conscious, right? I think ESG doesn't seem to strike resonance as well as it has struck in, say, North America and Europe. But let me tell you, the ESG is going to be a major one. All the global companies, I think, you would be following the diktat from the HQ, where the focus is already there on ESG. Even if you're tier 1 suppliers for the global companies, you're going to be reached out on this topic. If not, it has already happened. Okay, supply disruptions, it's going to continue. I think a lot of geopolitics tension. We are talking about China +1, whether onshore or near shore, or is it localized versus globalized, blah, blah, blah. Talent retention, someone spoke about it in the previous session. That's going to continue be a problem. Yeah, data-driven decision making, again, we spoke about it as part of the digital transformation as well. I think there's going to be a lot of questions on what are we doing with the data that we have, right? Are we going to do this clean slate approach every time, or are we going to leverage data? Okay. Quickly moving on, again, just to drive the point, right? All these commodity prices, we saw it hit the peak earlier this year, right? I'm not getting into each of the graph here, okay? But the message is, when I just look at the forecast for 2023, looks better than 2022, right? There's a lot of commodity prices have cooled down. Okay, energy, again, I think everyone would have faced this, right? 60% increase on average this year. Okay, coming back, yeah. So the prices are going to come down in 2023, and again, as I said, that's not going to make your life easier. Definitely, it's not going to make procurement folks sleep better, okay? Yeah, same point. I think on an average, we could say 15, 20, 30% decrease from the peak, okay? But again, there's this concept in procurement, right? The rocket and feather approach, right? When the price increase, I think the suppliers increase the prices, ask for this increase immediately. But when the price decrease happens, they don't come to us with the same speed, right? So there is always this 2023, I think we should be reaching out to the suppliers, proactively asking for the price decrease. Okay, quick one. So GEP partnered with Economist late last year, and we reached out to around some 400 participants, okay, mostly at the C-suite level, okay, across the globe, and had a set of questions understanding what they are planning for 2022 and beyond. Okay, so a few insights to call out, right? One, everyone or 50% plus faced significant disruption, okay, and most of them faced some issue or other, okay. 64% reported loss, right, and this is late 2021, okay, so 2022 has been tougher than that in terms of sales side, okay. And most of them reported that there is a damage to their company's brand reputation, right, as part of this or as a consequence of increased cost of operations. Okay. The major call out maybe on this slide as well as for that survey is that everyone felt that redundancy and resilience is more important than speed and efficiency. I think all of us, maybe pre-COVID, we're all focusing on how to speed to market. It's still there, I'm not saying no, okay, how to be efficient and all that stuff, but then maybe pre-COVID, post-COVID, I think the term of the season is resilience. Okay. Cool. This is the anchor slide for me in this session. So, what is that I would want to convey to you in this session? 3 takeaways. I think our approach in 2023 and beyond. Okay. Focus on these 3 areas. Again, there are subtopics under each. Okay, this is umbrella terms, but resilient and responsible. Okay, this is going to be an ask from the business, right? And again, I'm not saying we are not proactive, but I think this time there's a lot of push from the business side to become a more strategic partner than just focused on cost. I think cost for procurement is bread and butter, right? We are going to be held against the savings KPI. But I think business expects more from us than just driving cost savings. Okay, and yeah, resilience is going to be key. Responsible in ESG, a lot of people spoke. It's going to. I think we are still lagging behind in a great way, but I'm sure we are going to catch up. Given all this focus on India growth, GDP, like you would have heard, right? The bright spot in the economy, decoupling, and all the stuff. I think the ESG is going to come back to us soon. Okay. Efficient cost management, I spoke about it. I think our bread and butter. Digital and collaboration. Again, a lot of topics were covered in the previous sessions, but that's going to be key as well. Okay. Okay. On resilience, again, few things I would want to call out. Our strategy, right? We all build category strategy. We all build procurement strategy. Okay, I think there's, and we are doing this again. I'm aware of preaching to the choir, but again, to reinforce, right? Our resilience, reducing risk is going to be key. Okay, building transparency across supply chain. I think for me, the word resilience is very synonymous with building transparency across the value chain. Okay. Unless you have visibility to what's happening across the value chain, there's no way you would be able to figure out where is the risk and what you're going to do to solve it. Okay. Quickly, yeah, business resilience, again, supplier visibility, customer visibility, everything. As procurement, I think one, that end-to-end procurement suite era is behind us. I think we need to now move to end-to-end supply chain suite. Okay, let's talk about completely all the handovers, right, from sourcing of raw materials till the place it reaches the customer end. Okay, whether it's a retail shop or it's a B2B warehouse. Got it. Yeah, integrated business planning. Again, we are no more silos. I think we were never silos, but then I think we are more and more getting that seat at the table. Okay, there is a lot of cross collaboration that's happening, expected to happen more. Risk management is no longer an evaluation process. Okay. Cool. I'll skip this slide, but the point I wanted to make here is, if you haven't done, if you haven't set up a supply chain tower, please do it as part of the resilience. Okay, that's going to be very helpful. That's going to increase the maturity of your procurement organization. Okay, we can discuss that offline. What makes part of this supply control tower? Okay, yeah, there are a lot of tools outside as part of the suite, dedicated ones. But yeah, please focus on the supply control towers. Okay. ESG, I think a lot of people spoke already, so I'll just skip. But one thing I wanted to call out here, right? We spoke about what is ESG, why is it important, but one thing is we need to also understand what procurement can do in ESG topic, right? Again, not getting into details here, but scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. I think the scope 3, where all this contribution to greenhouse gases and other stuff is happening outside the boundary of the company, right, which is predominantly the vendors, right? That contributes almost 60-70% of the total for a company. Okay, lot of focus from the supply chain side, operations side, from HQ is put on the scope 1 and scope 2, right? But then that's just 20-30%. Okay, so this 60-70%, that is mainly driven by procurement. Okay, we need to have that visibility on how our vendors are contributing to the carbonization of our company. Okay, there are a lot of tools that's available to measure that baseline and then start giving targets and tracking it, all those stuff. Okay, but first question you should be asking yourself is, what is my supply base contributing to my the carbonization of my company? Okay. Okay, I'll just skip slide, but this is just one of the illustrative ones that we did for our client, where we're trying to build the CO2 emission by the supply base. Okay. Okay, efficient cost management. One again, set up this control tower for inflation and volatility. Okay, that's it's going to continue. Okay, on the right side, you're seeing a graph again. I just thought it would be a good way to show the impact of your categories, okay, towards maybe a CFO or a CEO, right? So we built this one for one of the clients, where we just say, okay, the area of the size of this box, right, reflects the size of the category, okay, and then the color code reflects the percentage increase. Okay, so just by looking at it, someone at a CXO level can tell you, oh, you know what, these are the categories that I'm going to be a concern for me in 2023. This is particularly helpful when you're building budgets for 2023. Okay, I know you would be in now round 2 or round 3, whatever, but you can actually leverage this. Okay. Cool. I think the folks here know everything here, but goes back to our IBP and collaboration. So there are a lot of levers where we need to collaborate with others in the company to come up with more savings. Okay. Let me just switch. I know. Give me a minute more, probably. Cool. One, digital transformation, right? A lot of previous speakers spoke about it, right? But one thing I wanted to call out is not ignore, but move beyond just coming up with a suite. Okay, digital transformation means a lot more stuff. One thing, so this is like, what we did is just plot the whole value chain and look at each sub step, right? And under each sub step, you have another sub step. Okay, let's say 1.1, 1.12, 1.121. Okay, look at everything and see how you can digitize it. Okay, first digitize, then you can digitalize, and then you can digitally transform. Okay, the first step is, do you digitize your operations? Again, in my opinion, it's maybe idealistic, but a procurement person, a supply chain person shouldn't be actually getting into a MS Outlook and use that as a communication tool. Okay, we should actually have a suite or a software platform where we just get into it and everything is there, right? including communication, normally you go check the spend in your tool, you do use e-sourcing, you create POs, you create approve POs, everything is done in the platform, right? Ideally, all this stuff should have just moved to the software platform. We aren't there yet, but you should be working towards moving there, okay? Yeah, again, not getting into it, there are some roadmaps we did. I'm skipping this slide for the sake of time, but let's move towards predictive analytics and just not descriptive analytics or diagnostic analytics. We are very good in analyzing our past, okay, but we aren't that good in predicting the future, okay. But predicting the future is, again, it's not easy, right? Not everything is internal, okay. You need to have subscription to indices. You need to actually map which indices are actually contributing to which categories. Try to do all this work to become that guy who actually, or girl, who leverages predictive analytics. Okay. Cool. Risk, I think everyone knows about it, but again, coming back to that risk management, the risk management should not stop at just classifying the suppliers as A, B, C, D, or whatever classification you come up with, but it should actually be a little more tangible. It should be, we should understand how it is going to actually impact our decisions. Okay, the last slide for the session. 3 key takeaways. One, the traditional procurement supply chain models, I think, are over. Okay, the business demands, the world demands, all the, Prashant was talking about 𝗥𝗏, the world is so volatile that you need to actually be 2 steps ahead of the game. Okay, building resilience, managing cost, enabling growth is going to be the priority in 2023. Enabling growth underline. Okay, incorporate digital levers. Okay, again, think beyond just the typical full suite. Yeah, e-sourcing, e-auction, everything is important. I'm not saying no, but that's 10 years ago. Okay, start moving ahead. Think about digitizing each and every operation that you do. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just a last slide. 𝗥𝗶𝘁.com. We have a lot of white papers and reports about procurement supply chain. Please do make a visit when you have time. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I